Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking, and we're taking off on the flight of fear. It's funny I say flight of fear because fear is one of those connecting emotions. And I put in my story and Instagram earlier this week that we have connecting emotions. A connecting emotion is actually emotion that involves multiple body or functions of ourselves to act and react. Most similar to love, fear actually causes us to think different thoughts, the possibility to calculate what may possibly happen, what may possibly be. It affects our body. Our heart starts racing, our adrenal glands start firing off, and then the chemical makeup of our body changes. We also have reactions in our emotions more than just fear. We actually have excitement and goes on to terror and things like that. It can also affect us on a spiritual level, as well as in some cases, extreme cases, it affects us financially as well. So it's one of those linking emotions that can cause us to do kind of unusual things. But fear is not a bad thing. Don't think fear to be a bad thing. Fear can actually be used as an accelerator as well as a driving force for us to accomplish something. Jocko Willink actually put in one of his podcasts that he's always scared. He's always has fear. It is how he responds and how he reacts to it that makes a difference. I mean, this coming from a Navy SEAL, coming from a world champion jiu-jitsu fighter, coming from somebody who ran 30 marathons in 30 days, saying that he deals with fear. He deals with fear on a daily basis. But he doesn't allow the fear to evoke an uncontrollable reaction. He doesn't allow fear to control his situation, his environment. He actually uses it to push himself forward. He goes on to say that in the SEALs, their training is when you hear gunfire, when you hear or see conflict, you don't turn away from it and run. You turn towards it and you combat it head on. Now, some instances, I would have to agree that you may have to hightail and run. You may have to get out of a situation, especially one that can quickly overtake you and depower you or tear you down or even kill you. You need to be cognitive of that potential or that possibility. But I'm talking about the fears that we face on a daily basis. I also put on my story a quote that I'm really taking to heart, that I'm really taking it as actually a banner of my learning and my insight. That so often we set on all the possibilities. We set our mind on the possibilities of what could happen, but we ignore the potential of what we can do about it. I think those are words that we really should take to heart. That we should train our mind to actually see what is going on, to actually feel what is going on, and we react the way we want to, we need to. It's like when we're little and we go off to bed and we're scared of the boogeyman. We fear the boogeyman, the thing that lives up under our bed or lives in our closet. And it took our parents to come in and turn on all the lights and with flashlights go up under the bed, go in the closet, and actually bring light to the darkness to expose the truth that there was nothing there, that we were allowing our minds to actually control what was going on or how we were going to react to something. Now, when you're at that point where you're in the bed by yourself, those things are actually real. Your mind has made them real, and they are real. And you need to address that they are real, but you should also go out and seek out what's the actual truth, what's actually going on, so that you can have solidity to that realness, to that truth. Now, when you shed that light on those situations and find nothing there, then you have concluded that that was all in your mind. However, be cautious, because sometimes when you turn on the light, there is something there. And you have to be strong and stronger to actually address what is there. You have to hit it head on. And you have to say, I'm going to address this, and I'm going to make it or control it to my best ability, or I am going to get help to do so. So it's a two-part step. Yeah, you address that fear, but sometimes you do need help. You do need that parent to come in with a flashlight. You do need that psychologist to step in and give you professional advice and techniques and tactics to deal with that fear. You do need legal help and counsel sometimes to deal with what you have brought to light. But now at this point, it's no longer in your mind. It's actually real and evident. So don't allow what's in your mind to actually determine your action. Shed light onto the truth and then address the truth that it is. Now, this leads to a conversation I recently had about being scared of the water. Sometimes that fear is evident in your past. Sometimes it's something that actually occurred to you that has created that fear in you. Now, once again, you may need some professional help to get you past that point, but you also have to have an open mind to address that fear. You have to see it for what it's worth, and you have to overcome it. Some people have a fear of heights. You have to see it, and you have to address it. You have to be willing and wanting to get in that elevator, go up to the 50th floor, and look out the window. You have to be willing to step on that boat and overcome that fear of the water, or step on that plane and overcome the fear of flying. But it is still your choice. It is your choice to decide to take on that fear. Me, myself, I hope that you choose to be the better you and to face your fears for what they are, shed light on what they are, and address them. And say, I'm going to react to this the way I know I should react to this. I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to be a conqueror through it. Because all things are possible. All things are possible to conquer through that. To be the better you. Also, I want to address the fear of not dreaming big enough. This has been on my mind for weeks now. So often time, it's not that we set targets too big and too high and miss. It's the fact that we set targets too low and we hit. Les Brown says, shoot for the moon, because even though if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Every night that I put my kids to bed, every night that I have them and I say prayers with them, I tell them to dream and dream big and dream in color and go for it. Because with those dreams, that will give you visions of what your future could be. What your future could be. You could, once again, going back to fear, you could bring light to what is actually there and you can address it. Same things with your dream. You can actually put light, put color, put actual depth and character to your goals and discover a pathway to get to where you want to go get to the better you that you want to be. I want to dream so big that if I come nowhere near it, I'll still be better off than I was yesterday. Isn't that our goal? To be better than what we were yesterday. And if we take every day to be better than what we were the day before, we will be conquerors of our futures. It was Benjamin Franklin who said that any day without learning, any day without consuming something new is a day wasted. I take that a next step. I have a bad day when I am not better than what I was yesterday. If I'm just the same as I was yesterday, it's not a good day. If I'm less than what I did yesterday, it's still not a good day. I got to do more. I got to be more. I got to think more. I got to achieve more. I got to dream big. Big. I have to see that potential for what it's worth, for what it is, or what it could be, and go for it. And it's the same techniques with any goal setting that you do. You put a vision to it, dream in color, you make it big, bigger the better in some senses, and then you sit down and write a path to get to it, to overcome it. And believe me, if it's a big enough dream, chances are there is no logical set out path that somebody's already taken. You're going to go where less people have gone, and you're going to trailblaze a way to get there. Think about this simple example, the 4-minute mile. For so many years, it was thought that that's impossible, that the human heart would explode if you ran a 4-minute mile. It took one guy visualizing, seeing himself going through the 4-minute mile, less than 4-minute mile. One guy. And then he took the steps to achieve it. And then the irony of it all. After that, the very next year, it was 20 people who got the 4-minute mile. And after that, and after that, and after that, hundreds of people have ran the 4-minute mile. But yet it was so impossible. Think about Da Vinci. He said, man can fly. Everybody thought it was crazy about man can fly. Man can fly. It took 2 bike salesmen, bike constructors, and Kitty Hawk to prove that it can fly, that man can fly. Yeah, they only stayed up for 12 seconds, but after that, they stayed up longer and longer and longer. Now you can get a flight from the States all the way to Europe and all the way back. Man can fly, but it was impossible back then to say man can fly. You know, the interesting thing about Orwell and Wilbur Wright is that they still got laughed at after their first flight. People saying, oh, you were just in the air 12 seconds. But they were in the air for 12 seconds. That's a lot longer than any of the people laughing at them have ever been in the air. But yeah, they laughed at it. But I seriously think that they may have had fear of flying after that point because, I mean, crash landing and everything. But they took that fear as, oh, well, we can get this better or we can get this right. You know, it was Neil Armstrong who said that, you know, once you've been in space, once you've been up there, you're addicted. All you think about is getting back up there, getting back into the sky. Even the people who had never flown but who had a dream to fly wanted to get back up there. Da Vinci wanted to be in the sky. He wanted to fly. Imagine what his thoughts would be now after so many decades passed, centuries passed, and some of his original designs are a part of modern day aeronautics, a part of modern day aeronautics. And most of his designs came from what he saw in nature, what he saw animals doing, what he saw things around him, how they worked. Could you not apply the things that are around you that are working, or not necessarily not working, but maybe have a little kinks in them? Could you not apply those things to achieving some of the impossible, some of the goals that are a little bit out of reach? Because once you can see it, you can do it. There is nothing, 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 nothing impossible to the human mind. It is the greatest and the best computer ever to come about. But we surprisingly don't use it to its fullest potential. We don't max out on what all we could possibly do and achieve. Now that, I think, is an insult to our creator as well as an insult to ourselves. You know, I had a quote come across to me this past week that I've heard put different ways, but I think it was really well said. When Les Brown said, you get to the end of your life, you're laying there on your deathbed, and you look around, and there's all these unsought after, unachieved goals, unachieved attributes staring back at you. And they're saying, we came to you to be created. We came to you to be an inspiration. And now we're going to die with you. Now, Jim Rohn put it the same way or similar way, saying that we have talents, we have giftings, but the depravity of life is not using them, not utilizing them to their fullest. One last quote. Amulet put it that when he gets to the end of his life and his creator, his maker, shows him who he may potentially have been or could have possibly been, he wants to recognize that guy. What do you think is impossible? What do you think is so large, so outrageous, so incredible that there's no way I could possibly do that? Have that conversation with yourself. Have that conversation with yourself and be honest. But I'm going to tell you this, have a pen and piece of paper right next to it too. Write it down. Oh, it's impossible. It's impossible for me to be the President of the United States. Impossible. It's impossible for me to build a children's cancer research hospital, fully funded. Possible. It's impossible for me to write a best-selling novel and make it a trilogy. It's impossible. Put a pen and piece of paper to it. And then, off to the side, you've heard this before, I'm repeating myself on goal setting, off to the side, write 3 to 4 ways of how you could get there, how you could do that, how you could become the President of the United States. And then off to the side of that, what are you doing now to achieve it? It's all goal setting. I'm repeating myself, it's all goal setting. But once you visualize it, put pen to paper, visualize it, you might find out you're a lot like Henry Ford, a guy who's used to building tractors and stuff for the agriculture industry, had the vision of a combustible engine. in his garage. Pen to paper. Get the people around you who know what they're doing. And then go for it. Only then, when you realize the impossible and you put pen and paper and you go and do it, could you be a better you. This is your captain speaking. See you next time in the Friendly Skies. Peace.